You're tuned into the SportsCast with Brian, Craig, and Jeff. Give you all the sports news you need. We give you outspoken thoughts about all the headlines. We talk baseball, football, hockey, and more. No matter the topic, we cover it. Get ready for the show and keep it outspoken. Keep it outspoken. We keep it outspoken only on the SportsCast. Tune into the SportsCast with Brian, Craig, and Jeff. Give you all the sports news you need.
Hello, everybody. Welcome in to the OutSpoken SportsCast. It's your host, Brian, on today. I'm riding solo again this week. Jeff is busy. He's got some family in town, so we wish him all the best and well this week. I got on. I did an episode on Tuesday about the review of last week, week 2 of the NFL, and I thought I knew how to put some audio clips of the games in here, and I played 2 clips last week, and apparently they didn't play in the episode, so I do apologize for that. I'm still learning on how to edit and all those things together, but we are headed into week 3. Last week I finished 11-4 in predictions, so I'm excited about that. So going into this week, I put out on my TikTok. Yes, we are on TikTok at OutSpoken Sports. My predictions for this week. We got the spotlight of the week. This week is buy or sell. We got the top 5 games of next week, or this coming week, and week 3, and then we have the headlines of the week for you. So, the spotlight of the week is buy or sell, and I'm basically going to buy or sell whether the teams that are still undefeated, if I truly believe that I believe this record or not. So if there are going to be potentially playoff teams and I wouldn't say Super Bowl contenders or anything, but just that they're a good football team. So first up, I have the Las Vegas Raiders, and they're an interesting team to me because we've seen them play before, and we've seen them beat really good teams last year and the year before, and we've seen them lose against really bad teams, and they're so inconsistent, it's hard to really grasp of what this team is actually able to be. So far, they've beat the Steelers and the Ravens. Out of the undefeated teams, they have played the 2 hardest teams and beat them as far as what everyone else's resume looks like. They beat the Steelers, really good defense. Ravens, really good defense. That game was crazy, went to overtime. Carr's looked really impressive so far this season. I think he's an underrated quarterback who has really good flashes that he can be their future quarterback and be there for the long haul. I hope that's true. I like Derek Carr as he's a person. I think I don't have anything against him. No grudges. No, I don't dislike the Raiders for any reason. I like John Gruden. I don't think he's that great of a head coach, but I like this team. I'm going to buy this team. The resume so far says they can show up and compete so far with the teams they've played. So I'm going to buy the Las Vegas Raiders. That one's still iffy on there, but I'm going to take them. Derek Waller, their tight end, has been a beast. He is such a great tight end. And Derek Carr seems to go to him quite a bit. This defense has been pretty good this season as well, getting to the quarterback and forcing the offense to have a hard time. So especially against the Steelers, they shut them down. So I'm going to buy the Raiders. The next I got is the Denver Broncos, okay? And this is a team last year I said this is going to be the sleeper team, and they're going to surprise us, and they didn't surprise us. They fell flat. This year, I've lost faith kind of in the Broncos as far as their quarterback goes. They brought in Teddy Bridgewater, who's been playing extremely well for them. This defense has been as good as it's advertised. They've brought in guys to help their problem. They've brought in Patrick Surtain, who's been really good so far. He's got our interception already. Their teams they've played has been Jacksonville and the New York Giants. So the two teams they've beaten so far, not very good, right? So I want to see Teddy Bridgewater take on a really good defense and still win the game. Now, when you look at the Denver Broncos, they're kind of, I wouldn't say an enigma, but they're different. This team has been built backwards. They built and boosted up their defense, and they're still looking for their quarterback. Now, Teddy brought in Teddy Bridgewater. I think, honestly, my honest opinion, he's a placeholder until Aaron Rodgers leaves Green Bay next season. I think Aaron Rodgers goes to Denver, and that makes that team deadly. With what they've done here in Denver, they're going to run the ball really good. They need a quarterback that's not going to turn over the ball. They have wide receivers. Now, Jerry Jeudy's going to miss some time, but they have Courtland Sutton on the outside. They drafted the the running back out of North Carolina. I think his last name is Williams. He in college he was a hard physical runner. That's who they like to get. You know, when you think about this team, you think about Terrell Davis back in the day, running hard and physical. This team likes to pound the ball and play really good defense. And if you have that going for you, if you got the running game going for you, and you got the good defense going for you, and the quarterback just has to play. He has to be a bus driver. And to me, Teddy Bridgewater is a bus driver. Now, he's surprised me this year so far of how good he's actually playing. Let's see if he can continue that throughout the year. I wasn't a big believer in the Saints with him, but we'll see what he pans out here in Denver. I think the Broncos I'm going to sell on. And I'm going to sell on it. Sorry, Jeff. I know they're your team. I'm going to sell on them because I don't believe Teddy Bridgewater can keep this up every game for 17 games. Okay, they're in a very tough division now that you have. You got the Chargers, you got the Chiefs, and you got the Raiders, who are all playing pretty well. Denver has built this defense up to help protect them against the pass, against Patrick Mahomes, against Justin Herbert. We'll see how well they play each other coming up when they get into the division. I'm going to sell the Denver Broncos because I'm not sold on Teddy Bridgewater, and I'm not a big fan of the defensive first kind of head coaches or way you built your team. I'm more offensive driven. Jeff is very defensive driven. So he loves the way Denver Broncos defense is. And you got to have a good defense to win a championship. I'm not saying you don't. Their defense is great. I'm going to sell on them, though. I'm not a big believer in Teddy Bridgewater. Next is the 49ers. The 49ers are off to a 2-0 start. They get Jimmy Garoppolo back this year. Hopefully he stays healthy for them. They drafted Trey Lance. So there's the quarterback conversation there. And I wouldn't really say controversy yet. It's not like it is in Chicago where the controversy is there. It's full flight. That's probably because the 49ers are actually winning games, okay? The 49ers have played against the Lions and the Eagles. They beat the Lions, but the Lions came back on them pretty good with Jared Goff. And then they struggled against the Eagles, and they beat them 17-11. And look, a win's a win. I'm not going to take away for barely beating teams because anybody can show up on any given Sunday, right, and prove themselves. Defense is a force to be reckoned with. They get to the quarterback. They cover well. They stopped the run last year. Their defense is there. As long as they can stay healthy, they're going to have a good defense. They play my Packers this Sunday night, and I'm worried about this defense getting into Aaron Rodgers. Now that Elton Jenkins is probably going to be out, our offensive line banged up, so that has a problem. I'm not too worried about the running game because they're injuries and they're playing backups, so we should be able to stop them. But Jimmy Garoppolo and Deebo Samuel have been connecting. They had 183 yards against the Lions in Game 1, so That's a good wide receiver. He's fast and quick, and he's made himself a household name there for the 49ers. Am I buying the 49ers or am I selling? Now, you look at this division, and it's tough. You've got Seattle, who I think is actually the weakest team in the division. But you got Russell Wilson, so you have a chance to win. You got the 49ers. You got the Rams. And then you got the Arizona Cardinals, who have been playing really well, and Murray's been great. So I have got to... I'm going to sell on the 49ers. I'm going to sell on them because of their division. I don't think they're going to win their division. I don't necessarily think... I mean, they could make a wild card, but we'll have to see how that pans out. I think the Rams win their division. The Cardinals probably come in second. The Cardinals' offense looks a little bit more flashy and explosive than the 49ers. I'm going to sell the 49ers. This one might come back to bite me in the end. I have them actually beating my team next week, but I'm going to sell on them. I don't know if Jimmy Garoppolo is going to stay healthy. Is Bosa going to stay healthy? Who are they going to find in the running back room to step up and take the places of their injured running backs? So far, they've struggled against two teams that aren't very good, in my opinion. So I'm going to sell on the 49ers. And sorry, Manuel, if you're hearing this, you're not going to like that. But I'm not here to protect your feelings. Just tell you how it is. All right, the Rams. Okay, this is an easy one. I think a lot of people see it. They've beat the Colts and they beat the Bears so far. Stafford looks like the top quarterback we all thought he was, right? He had that perception of him of he's a good quarterback, but we need to see him outside of the Detroit because Detroit ruins a lot of careers. And we're going to see this year, and he's shown so far of why he is considered to be a great quarterback. He's a top 10 quarterback in my opinion, and he's looking like it. Him and Cooper Kupp and this offensive McVay, they're deadly. Might be the best team in football. They beat the Colts. They beat the Bears. Like I said, the defense hasn't been as dominant this far as it was last year, and defenses tend to not carry over. They tend to fall back a little bit. So this is an easy buy, though. I think anybody can agree with this. This is probably the easiest buy out of all the undefeated teams. You're going to take the Rams to be a contender deep in the playoffs. I haven't picked them to win in their division and going on from there. The next team is 3-0 as they played Thursday night. They beat the Saints and the Texans and the Jets, I believe. And, yeah, they beat the Jets. That was the opening week. And, look, you can sit here and go, well, they really haven't played anybody. They've done it against the Saints, who is not the same team who showed up and just killed Green Bay in week one. The Texans, who, without Tyrod Taylor, they started a rookie. And then you got the Jets, who have been bad, and they're still working out with their rookie quarterback and getting through his hard times. So, but Sam Darnold's look really good right now. And this is one of the big talks coming into the season. And I think it's kind of an underrated talk. It's been a discussion, but no one's really jumped into it too much as far as I've seen. Sam Darnold coming from the Jets. He's only 26 years old. He's still young. The Jets gave up on him, or they didn't surround him with enough talent, and they decided to trade him. And I wasn't throwing in the white flag on Sam Darnold. We talked about this before the season started. I believed he still had some stuff left. I believed did I believe they start off the 3-0 start? No. But they got a really good head coach in Matt Rule, who in college he coached in Baylor, and wherever he went, he turned the programs around. And it just it's going to take some time in the NFL to get a team around you, get going. The Panthers also, their defense right now through the first 3 games is number 1 ranked. So that's really good for them. Sam Darnold's look fantastic. I am buying the Panthers. Yes, you heard it here right. I picked them in my Survivor League game. I picked them on Thursday night to win. They got the easy win over the Saints. Over the Texans there. And I'm glad they did because now I get to move forward here. So the Panthers, I am buying. You heard that here. I think they'll finish second in their division. The Saints are not who you think they are. Week 1 was a fluke. Green Bay just didn't show up to that game. All right. The next team that is undefeated is the Buccaneers, and this is probably the easiest buy, second easiest buy or easiest buy, depending on how you look at it. They played Dallas, and they've played Atlanta. They played Dallas. Dallas played them tough. They beat they beat the tires off Atlanta. Tom has 9 touchdowns through the first 2 games. They're playing really well. You know, last season when Tom Brady joined Tampa Bay and they didn't have the off season to go with, and you know, it wasn't a normal year because of COVID. They were a little sluggish to start the year and do these. You know, they didn't have a fantastic season. With a full off season, Tom's getting more reps with his team with these wide receivers, and it makes him deadly. So we know that Tom Brady's on a team. We know they're going to be, you know, it's an easy buy here. But those are the undefeated teams in the league. Let me know if you think I'm right or wrong on a buying or selling. Jeff might listen to this and tell me that I'm wrong about his Denver Broncos, and I want to be wrong, right? I actually like Denver. I think they've got some really good talent. And look, I'll have to buy me an Aaron Rodgers Denver jersey next year when he goes there. I'm just not buying Teddy Bridgewater. But those are my buys and sells on the teams that are still undefeated right now. Next week it might be panic mode for some of the teams that haven't won a game yet or that start off 1-2. So we might do that next week at the Spotlight of the Week. All right, guys, the top 5 games for next week. We have number 1 game of the week, and number 1 game that everyone should watch is the Rams versus Tampa Bay. And this one is going to be Matthew Stafford versus Tom Brady. Defense versus defense. This is going to be a slobber knocker, okay? As Jerry the King Lawler would call it on WWE, it's going to be a slobber knocker. This is a game that is a must-watch. Find it where you can get it. I've got the Rams winning this game. I think Matthew Stafford looks fantastic. I think the defense is going to be able to pressure Tom Brady. They have to figure out how to stop Aaron Donald and stop this pass rush. When you get to Tampa Bay, when you get to Tom Brady, that's how you beat him. You force him off the spot, and you got to get there quick though, because he gets the ball out of his hands very quick. And so if you can cover their guys and make him hold on to the ball and get to him and force him to make a sack, force him to make a bad pass, I think they've got a chance to win. Matthew Stafford's got to play good as well. This is going to be a really good game, really close game. I think Rams win by 3. Number 2, I got the Chiefs versus the Chargers. You have Patrick Mahomes versus Justin Herbert. The defenses so far this year have been okay, nothing to write home about. So these teams are going to put up points. Who do you got? I have the Chiefs. They just came off a heartbreaking loss to Baltimore because Clyde, not just because, but Hilaire fumbled their opportunity to go down and win the game. They're going to come back a little hungry, a little angry. The Chargers could win this game. I could see Justin Herbert having a good game as well. This is also going to be another one. This is a really good week of football. Also going to be another one that could go either way. I have the Chiefs winning. I wish the Chargers would win. Number 3, the Sunday night football game. You got the Packers versus the 49ers. You got my team versus one of my buddies' teams. Jimmy Garoppolo versus Aaron Rodgers. These two defenses, offense weapons on both sides. The better quarterback is obviously Aaron Rodgers. They were playing in San Francisco. I got the 49ers, unfortunately, winning this football game, and that's how you know I'm a realistic fan, guys. I'm not going to butter up Green Bay Packers and drink that Kool-Aid and tell you they're going to win every single game and go to the Super Bowl. We've got the 4th hardest schedule remaining in the NFL. We have one of the toughest schedules this season. It's going to test us. I'm not sold on our defense. That's my biggest worry. Everyone's concerned about Rodgers on the offense. I think we'll be just fine. It's that defense I worry about. I think the 49ers are going to be able to attack Aaron Rodgers. We got to beat up line right now. Bakhtiari won't be back anytime soon. What's his name? Ellington is out or ruled to be questionable to start Sunday. So we'll see what happens. I am going to stay up for this game. I didn't stay up on Monday night because I figured the Packers could handle the Lions, and they did so. This game I will stay up for. I will be tired as heck to go to work on Monday, but I got the 49ers winning this football game. Number 4, I got the Bengals versus the Steelers, and this is a rivalry. Steelers look a little sluggish so far this year. They're at home. Their defense is pretty good. Will T.J. Watt be playing with his injury? Last week, Joe Burrow threw 3 interceptions. Not a good start. Not a good week for him. They lost the game by 3 points. If he doesn't throw a couple of those interceptions, they'd probably win that football game. I look for the Bengals to go into Pittsburgh, shock the Steelers, and win this football game. I think Joe Burrow will play better, and I got them winning. Now, on the road in Pittsburgh is tough, right? That's a tough place to play. You got the terrible towels. You got that tough crowd to go play in. Maybe a little bit of cold weather as we start to see fall in the area. And the Bengals hopefully will win this football game. I'm a big Joe Burrow fan. I watched him through college a lot and then really liked this kid. He threw for over 300 yards last week, threw 3 touchdowns. Just to take care of the football next time, and they probably win that game. I can see this game going either way. I'm taking the Bengals on a coin flip. The next game is 2 desperate teams. The Vikings are more desperate because they haven't won a game yet. And the Seattle should be 2-0. They're only 1-1 because they let Tennessee come all the way back and beat them at home, and they fell asleep at the wheel there in Seattle and let Tennessee take the victory from them, and they snatched them up. So instead of talking on to them, about buying or selling Seattle, they're 1-1. So this one's interesting. It's in Minnesota. I got Seattle winning this game. And I just think Russell Wilson's going to come out and have a good game. They're going to be able to throw. He's going to be able to throw the ball a lot on the Minnesota's defense. And Minnesota will implode this season. Okay, this will be the year that their head coach, Zimmerman, gets fired. Maybe mid-season, maybe after the year, probably after the year. But I think this is a year that Minnesota is talented. They have a decent quarterback. Kirk Cousins is a decent quarterback. They have Dalvin Cook, a beast of a running back. They have 2 great wide receivers on the outside, Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson. They usually play really good defense. This is a team that should win, and they failed to do so. And so I don't see them. They could win this game. It's in Minnesota. They are desperate to win. They're going to have the home crowd going. I could easily see them winning this game. But I think Russell Wilson's going to go in, have a really good game against them. I think Minnesota's ready to implode with Mike Zimmerman as a head coach. And I think Minnesota starts the season 0-3. And when you go 0-3, you've dug yourself quite a bit of hole to get into the playoffs. Now, I got Packers winning this division, and I think Packers still will win the division. But other than that, we really don't have a team in the division that's good enough that will compete with Minnesota, unless Justin Fields shows up and turns out to be an amazing quarterback year one. Then the Vikings should be second place, and if they finish anywhere else other than second place, that's definitely a slap in the face to them. The organization, they shouldn't be that bad, but they're obviously shooting to win the division and go further on in the playoffs and all that, but I just don't think it's going to happen. And I think Kirk Cousins and Mike Zimmerman will be gone from them next year, and it might be a rebuilding year. Who knows? Maybe Aaron Rodgers goes to Minnesota like Brett Favre did. So that would be interesting to see, and we would definitely hate that. All right, guys. That's it for the Spotlight of the Week and the top 5 games next week, Week 3. we are headed into the headlines. And we've got some interesting ones this week. On Tuesday, I discussed this kind of a headline going into it about Nagy's press conference. He had a weird press conference where he would not answer the question of who's going to be the Bears starter next week because Andy Dalton got hurt the week before, and he didn't answer the question. And then 5 minutes later, he sent someone else to come in and say, if Andy Dalton's healthy, he will start. It was a little weird, and it kind of made you go, they're already contemplating a quarterback change in Chicago. Well, Matt Nagy came out and said Justin Fields will start this week because of Andy Dalton's injury. So injury has kept Andy Dalton from starting. Will this be Justin Fields' game where he comes in, makes a statement like Dak Prescott did, right? Dak Prescott came in for injured Tony Romo, and he never let it go again. Will this happen? Will Justin Fields come in and end Andy Dalton's career right in front of our eyes? I don't know. He didn't do too great last week, but it's hard to judge them when you don't have a full week of game plan for Justin Fields. He's probably got he runs a little bit different of an offense, I'm guessing, with those legs and everything he can do that Andy Dalton can. Like I talked about it on Tuesday, it's an awkward situation for the Bears. It's the spotlight of the quarterback for the Bears that you don't want on your team, right? You want to be able to draft your younger quarterback and have him come in and start and be that guy. But you've promised your other quarterback that he's going to be the starter, so a veteran quarterback, and it's just an awkward time right now. And some feelings on both sides will get hurt probably. And if Andy Dalton, if Fields plays really good this week, I think Andy Dalton is done in Chicago. And if Justin Fields does very bad this week and Dalton becomes healthy, then no big deal. And they put Dalton back in, you got to give Justin Fields some more time. But if Justin Fields plays really good and Andy Dalton is ready to go week 4, week 5, and say the Bears win the next 2 games with Justin Fields, and whether they're pretty games or not, but they've at least won 2 games, the head coach has got a decision to make. He's got Andy Dalton who wants to play, and he's got the young buck who the fans and the organization drafted first and they want to see. So it puts Matt Nagy in a tough situation. If he brings in Dalton and they lose, and that's his head coaching job, and I think he's gone after the year anyways. But it's an interesting conversation there, and it's an interesting spotlight put on the quarterbacks, but not the spotlight you want on them right now. Years from now, it'll be no big deal. It'll be Justin Fields' team, and next year, and it is what it is. But did you feel bad for Tony Romo when Dak Prescott did the same? Did it to him? And you can't blame Fields, and you can't blame Dak and how that ended up. It's just the way it happened. So interesting to see how Justin Fields does this week. He plays the Cleveland Browns, so that's a tough defense for him to come into to start his career against. But you've got a week to game plan, so we'll see what happens there in Chicago this week. Headline number 2, Big Ben might not go on Sunday. That's also another reason I kind of picked the Bengals versus the Bengals. He has a pectoral muscle injury, and he might not go. And this year has been the year of injured quarterbacks already, okay? We've had Carson Wentz, Baker Mayfield, Derek Carr, Andy Dalton, Big Ben, Tyrod Taylor, Fitzgerald, Fitzmagic, Tua Tagovailoa. All those quarterbacks have been hurt and either came back in the game or been hurt and going to miss some time. It is getting serious out there for the backup quarterbacks, and you better have a good one or a decent one, the one that's competent, because you might need them this year. All right. There's been lots of noise. This next one's interesting. There's been lots of noise from Tom Brady's camp this week as his trainer Alex Guerrero says Bill did not involve over the years of coaching Tom, of how to coach Tom, and that affected Tom leaving the Patriots. Excuse me. So we all know that, Bill Belichick's a hard ass, okay? We know that. And he coaches this team how he wants to, and he's not changing for anybody. And that's how he rolls, right? He's done it that way when he had Tom Brady all his career. Even though Tom Brady was great, he still treated him a certain way. So the team knew that, if Tom Brady can get screamed and yelled at in practice, then I can get screamed and yelled at in practice. And Bill Belichick has done that, and it's worked. He's won. He's the most winningest coach in NFL history, right? As far as rings go. If I'm a player, especially what Tom Brady's accomplished, he deserves that respect. He deserves, I wouldn't say to be pampered, right? That's just not the thing, but he deserves a certain level of respect to be able to be taught, maybe not yelled at and bombarded in front of everybody, to be given that leniency to know that he's going to make the right decision and do the right things. Some people, some quarterbacks, some players have earned that respect. And Bill Belichick runs a different camp up there in New England, and maybe that's why they win. It probably is why Bill Belichick and Tom Brady left, or Tom Brady left New England. I can easily see that. This guy's like, look, man, you get off my back for once. We've won how many Super Bowl rings? I'm not saying that Tom Brady and Bill Belichick hate each other. I just say that they, can no longer work together. And, there's this fine debate about who was needed more, Bill Belichick or Tom Brady. Tom Brady goes to Bucks and wins the Super Bowl, then that means he was the one that made that won all those rings. It wasn't Bill or Bill can't win now. No, they go together. Okay, guys, let's end this debate. They go together. You've got to, any team in the NFL has got to have a good quarterback to win a Super Bowl. You've got to have some luck on your side. That always happens. You get a little bit of luck here, get a little bit of luck there, a good quarterback. You've got to have a coach that knows how to coach, that knows how to call offense or defense. Bill Belichick is a defensive-minded coach, so he runs the defense. So on this debate, they're both needed to win those rings. So I'm not picking a side here. Coach Belichick coaches the way he coaches. It's going to rub some players the wrong way, and they probably won't end up staying on the team. Other players need that push and to keep going, and need that push to play harder, and whatever it is. Coaches have different coaching styles. Certain people like to be coached certain ways, and if Tom Brady didn't like it at the end, well, he left. He left for whatever reasons, and he went on, and he's having a successful career in Tampa. So there's just a lot of noise coming from Tom Brady's part, and it's just been interesting because there's some stories coming out. Hopefully there's a book coming out between the relationship between Tom Brady and the Patriots, or Bill Belichick and all this stuff. So that'll be interesting to look out for. But there's just a lot of noise coming out from his camp. All right, we got two basketball headlines in here, as we talked a lot of football this whole time, but little clip came out today that says that Kristaps Portzingus said he wanted to be traded after the playoffs last season. Dallas has been a lot of talk about Luka Doncic and Rick Carlisle and Vegas Bob, and who's the real GM, and why isn't Kristaps Portzingus playing like he did in New York, and can he physically play that way, and Jason Kidd hire, and bringing in the Nike guy Nico Harrison, and all this stuff. They've had a lot of talk over the offseason, and some changes were made, and the changes are what actually kept Kristaps in Dallas, he said that, the organizational changes has given him hope that, Jason Kidd and they can learn how to use him again. And, I'm not buying the scapegoat that Rick Carlisle, one of the best coaches in the NBA and smartest basketball minds, didn't know how to use Kristaps Portzingus. I'm not buying that. And we talked about this over the offseason. I'm not buying that. That's a load of crap. I think Rick Carlisle is taking the fall for that narrative. Rick Carlisle, he's been known to be a hard ass as well. And he can be hard on his star players. And maybe they want him gone. I don't know. He's with Indiana. He stepped away, whatever. Kristaps Portzingus is, I believe, physically not able to play that way, to drive to the basket and be the guy that he used to be. His kneecaps, his blown knees will tell you that. So we're really going to find out the winner of that narrative this year. Or we're going to find out the right or wrong. If Kristaps comes back this year and he's driving to the basket and playing physical and he has a really good year and he's doing those things and not just sitting in the corner shooting threes, then that narrative will be true, or that'll be a true, right? And that will prove that narrative of Rick Carlisle didn't know how to use him is true. But I don't believe that. I don't believe that a smart coach, as in Rick Carlisle, just didn't know how to use Kristaps Portzingus. He had Dirk Nowitzki before this. Dirk is kind of the same kind of player. Tall, big, he can play down low, he can shoot threes, he can take care of the basketball. He does all those things that Kristaps used to do, except, Dirk's obviously way better than Kristaps Portzingus. But Kristaps has come to Dallas, and he's not no star. And he's inconsistent as far as staying on the court. Those are all stuff we all know. But I'm looking forward to seeing the season if he puts that narrative to rest, or he brings it to light and maybe that is true. If he comes out and looks different, or if we have the same old Kristaps that's missing games and not doing much on the court. And I want a Dallas Mavericks fan to tell me this, if you're a big believer in Kristaps, because I'm not. Whenever you have two stars on your team, okay, we got LeBron or AD, or you got Durant or Kyrie. When one of those stars goes out on the bench, and the second team's in with a star, like you see it with Leonard and Paul George. Leonard will go off the court. Paul George will stay on. Paul George has the ball. Paul George runs that offense, right? You see it. Go watch it. He runs that offense. He facilitates. He gets his points. He helps do all those other things. When the Mavericks' second team takes over and Kristaps is still on the court, Kristaps doesn't do that. He doesn't handle the ball very much. He doesn't take over. He doesn't step up as a star player. And that drives me insane. So I want to know the answer to that. I want to know if, I think it's because Kristaps physically can't be that guy anymore. And I hope I'm wrong, because I don't like Dallas Mavericks, but I do like Luka Doncic, and I think he's one of the best basketball players in the NBA, and that's just that's understatement. So that'll be something I'm interested in going into this next season of NBA. And the other NBA nugget that dropped is Ben Simmons says he won't return to the 76ers and wants a trade. He wants out. Doc Rivers says they want him back. This is, a dilemma. And, Aaron Rodgers pulled this over the offseason. I don't want to play for you guys, but he's back in Green Bay, and that's because the NFL players don't have as much power as basketball players. And basketball players can say, hey, I want out, and they can basically, it's done. They can, Harden said, I'm not playing for Houston, and quit on his team, and said, I want to go play him with the Nets. And he played with the Nets the next week. Will Ben Simmons play for the 76ers if he really wants out? No. It's Ben Simmons, a guy that I'll take on my team? Yes. I would in L.A. because I already have two guys that can score the basketball. And Ben Simmons will put up some points, but he's not a shooter. He doesn't want to be in the spotlight. He plays good defense. He facilitates the ball, and he scores some points. And there's a spot somewhere out there for him, but I think he's got to have a couple more guys to score points for them really to be successful. Somebody will pick him up. Somebody will get a trade for him. I think that Kyrie. There was a rumor about Kyrie being traded for Ben Simmons, but Kevin Durant turned that down. So no, that's not happening. So we'll be interested to see where he goes, if he goes somewhere or not. If he truly wants out in the NBA, you can get out in the NBA. So we'll figure that out real quick. Doc Rivers says he wants it back, though. All right, guys, that's been this week's episode, number 70. It's buy or sell. We had some pretty good discussions going on, or some pretty good headlines going on. My locker this week, it's just been busy at work. I've been busy at work, busy with the podcast, and doing 2 shows a week is time consuming. So that's been real busy this week. I've been in a cooking mood lately. All right, I think it's because football's back. You get football, you want some good food while you're watching that football. I'm running a Survivor League, so I've got a lot of things on my plate right now, and it's fun and a little bit draining. I'm off this weekend and tomorrow. Last weekend I made homemade biscuits and gravy. I made homemade biscuits from dough. Okay, never done that before. Never made homemade gravy. Made homemade gravy. We had biscuits and gravy. They were off the chain that night. I made homemade enchiladas. Homemade green chili chicken enchiladas, super good as well. So I've been in a cooking mood. Got to go to the store tomorrow, get some more stuff, figure out what I'm going to cook this weekend. I'm a big biscuits and gravy guy, so I'm going to make me some more biscuits and gravy and figure out what we're going to have Sunday. So that's about it this week, though. Just busy at work, busy with the podcast, and cooking. Now, I'm not going to toot my own horn. I can throw down in the kitchen, okay? I'm not just all about sports. I can throw down in the kitchen. Ask my wife. So, but all right, guys. Well, that's this week's episode. I hope you have a fantastic week. Have a good weekend of college football, NFL on Sunday. Hang out with your kids. Find some time in that family time this weekend too. Don't let football take it all over, guys. Don't you let football take your whole weekend from you. Enjoy. God bless, and take care.